Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ben's Brick Designs. I'm Ben. Welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. I hope your weekend's going well. Good morning, Johnny. So it's been a while since I've done a bit of Horizon Zero Dawn designing. So that's what we'll be doing today. I realize that I have enough time to get all the machines done, I think. Good morning, James. How are you? Hope you're having a good Sunday. So let's jump right into it. We are doing this bad boy today. We're doing a Longleg, which is an interesting creature from, or an interesting machine from the game. Again, this is Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a game that came out for the Sony PlayStation 4 back in 2000, I think like 2015, something like that. It's been a while, maybe 17. It was one of the reasons I got a PlayStation 4. So the tall neck for one, the Thunderjaw, some of the smaller creatures just were so. Once I started playing the game, it was just so magical. That it really drew me in. It slowly became my favorite game of all time. And these machines and the designs of the machines are a large part of it. So that's all just recap. I'm going to try to get this guy done. He's one of the smaller, he's the last of the smaller of the machines to get done. And I'll kind of show you the size because you can actually ride in the game. This is one that you can mount. You can once you figure out how to override the machines, some of them you can ride. Broadheads, chargers, striders, and then long legs. And you can kind of see how big they are comparatively to Aloy. It's kind of standing a little straighter up than normal, but it's a pretty large mid-sized machine. So we're going to have to make it about, one leg. She's about as tall as one leg, and we'll have to make it so she can ride it too. So I have some ideas on what to do for certain parts. As always, the heads are going to be complicated because despite them having these eyes that have multifaceted, optical sensors, I guess as it were. Let's see if I can just get the large ones. Those are generally pretty hard to do, so I just kind of do one trans part that can, kind of light up. But yeah, this thing's kind of weird. It's also got these weird legs again, kind of like the grazer or the lance horn, where it's these almost look like the Paralympic sprinters legs with like the spring loaded carbon fiber legs, but these have like raptor hooks on the back of it. The best way to describe these are like if every machine has an analog bit to it, then this would probably be more like an ostrich. It has wings, but it doesn't fly. It's a running bird. So I feel like this is an ostrich analog. Let's see. These are pretty good. Did I get that one? No. Okay. So this is a pretty good image too. This seems to have a lot of good images for it. It's a very unique machine. I love the way when it attacks you too, it kind of jumps up in the air and it kind of does the claw thing at you like this. The breast sacs also inflate and it releases this concussive blast that can knock you down. It also has just like lasers that shoots at you. There's two different versions, I think. Let's look up the lore on this real quick. Zerp. There we go again. I think there's 2 versions at least. There might be 2, and then an Apex version. So yeah, it's got a handful of attacks. Yeah, concussion sack, alarm signal. These guys are really good at detecting you from distance. Power cells, the things you can knock off. All these things you can knock off the components. Maybe there's just the 2. I thought there was maybe 2 different ones, but I guess not. Oh, variants. Yeah, okay, so we've got the Longleg, which is the regular one. It's, it's got its strengths and weaknesses, and then the Apex one, which is Apex. Generally, the component bits on the body itself are just a different color, so I'm not gonna worry about doing all these animals in regular version and then Apex version as well. I'm also gonna grab this bit from here because I don't remember what it's called. Bionicle weapon claw, because I think I could probably reuse this for the leg again. So let's see how big that is. But the problem is I want to be able to attach something down here, so maybe not. We'll have to see. All right, so let's get into it. I hope everybody's having a great day. I know there's been some the Lego news that I'm aware of lately is that there has been some sightings of some botanicals at Costco's for very, very inexpensive, like half off. I think we're trying to grab a few of those to do maybe a draft. I don't have a card, but I have friends who have a card, so I might ask them to grab. I don't know. I'll find out from the group if they want to do. We've got a couple other drafts going right now. One of them was yesterday, I think, or today, and I didn't get a chance to go because I was busy. Yeah, cool. I think that's it. Like, it's kind of middle of the month. We're waiting for some Star Wars sets that were pre-order stuff to come out in September. Yeah, maybe I do just want to keep it like this, but I kind of want their claw thing on the end of it. So maybe I'll just make the legs again. I'm going to grab, I think I want to do the stalker. I'll grab all these leg pieces because this will work to start at least. So the results are in, Johnny. The results are in for the voting, which I don't know how many people voted. I wish I could tell. It's just a percentage. Family Bricks is streaming at the same time. I think Brick Hive's also streaming. So I appreciate everybody who's here because I know Sunday mornings tend to be a big time for Lego streamers. So it looks like Vab's pulling into the lead, 60-40. Johnny, so far you haven't gotten any votes. I'm very sorry. I was able to put all these up on my Facebook page. Hopefully people can see them with a little more detail. I don't think your image was very big. Maybe that's why it was. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Like, this was really good. So I wanted to show you this because this reminds me of, this was what I was talking about. There is a pre-evolution to Shin Godzilla that was this thing. And Vab's design with the ribs and stuff reminds me of this. It's crazy. This is the weird, like, if you haven't seen Shin Godzilla, the monster itself is the weirdest thing, right? Um, it's like kind of disturbing. Like I watch it and I'm a bit horrified, and I don't easily get that way. So it's, but that was a lot of fun. We should do it again. Maybe not this coming Thursday, but in a couple weeks, maybe we'll pick another thing to do and we'll theme bend it. Maybe we'll pick like a city, pick a Star Wars set and turn it into a city set, or um, find a friend set and turn it into a monsters set, or something like that, where we bend it to another Lego theme. I think that's a lot of fun. So, all right, back to this. So I can do this same leg pretty much exactly. Yeah, this coming, so not like this Thursday. Maybe. Okay, we'll see. I really do want to kind of get back into doing this stuff for next year. I want to make sure to get all these designed, because the next few machines, this is my list. So I'm working on the Longleg now. The Stalker is done. Got that one done. The Rock Breaker, I don't know if I'm going to do, because it's a very complicated animal, and it's technically not included in that big layout where you see all the animals at the end, or all the machines at the end, but it is in the game. So if I have time, I'll do that one. This one we're working on now, and then it's the big ones. It's the two big ones. So the Deathbringer, I'll show you what I mean by big. And I've saved these for last because I'm dumb. Oh, you know what? There was another one I thought that I was doing. I guess it's not in here. I think I needed to change it because it wasn't in here. Oh, Behemoth. That's the other one. Okay, so I got 3. So I'll do that one next. But the Deathbringer is this monstrous... It's this thing, right? So these are kind of the end game ones in Zero Dawn that you have to fight. And they're honestly not that hard. I think like some of the mid-size animals are actually a little more hard to fight, because you get a sense of like, it's pretty close, right? But these things, the smaller ones have patterns, but they're hard to detect because you're so close to them and they're just constantly attacking you. This thing's a little slower, but it definitely has a pattern. And it's like a lot of these things, because it's using so much energy, it has heat sinks that kind of have to open up and like dispel some of the heat. And when it does that, you shoot those, and then it tends to overheat and malfunction. So you can knock gun turrets off. You can hit the heat sinks on its legs. And it's just, as long as you stay away from it, you're pretty safe. What's up, Zissou? So I don't think this one's going to be too hard. It's got 6 legs. I think we can do that pretty solidly. A lot stronger than I think we could do the Shell Walker because of its size. So we'll be able to put ratcheted joints in there so it holds up better, I believe. And then the other one is the Stormbird, which is going to be, I think, just very, very complicated because it's also very large. It's probably the size of the Thunderjaw, but it has wings. I don't think... It probably won't be as terrible to design as I think it is, but it's so big that I'm just worried it's going to be unwieldy. And I also have to figure out does it have a long jacket? It's got a short skirt. I also have to figure out how to kind of suspend it. So our Brick Rodeo next year's theme is going to be like building vertically. I don't know why I put it in quotes, or up, stacked something, building higher, right? So I'm going to try to do like mountains in the background. So I'll have like a flat plane of like stuff, and then I'll basically do the same thing, but I'll have it like vertical. So it looks like mountains. So I can kind of build thick plates like this, but have it stacked up like this. So I'm not like stacking bricks to make mountains, but I'll flip some plates. And that way it only has to be like this, but it can kind of taper off and look like mountains. And then I'll have some sort of rig to hold the Stormbird next to a mountain. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I've got less than a year to figure it out. So that's one of the big ones. The other one is not too big. It's about as big as the Trampler. It's a Rhino slash, I think Rhino is probably the best description for it. You can kind of see how big it is comparative. Got a picture with Aloy in it with the behemoth, but it's about the same size as a Trampler. And this, you base it off one part, and I kind of know what that part is right here. And then the rest of this, I've just done so many times that it's like, yep, I know exactly what parts to put in there. The tricky part's going to be the head, I think. So we're working on that, and then it'll be done. But the rock breaker is, the reason the rock breaker is going to be difficult is because it lives underground, and it's a giant mole thing. I just thought mine was funnier. So this thing lives underground. It's a big mole worm thing. It's got these big paws, right? And it's got this really wicked drill mouth. That's this 3-pronged drill mouth, which should be easy enough to do. You get a gear, and then you get, you have a head that has one gear underneath, and then you've got like some mandibles over here that just have the same gear. So it looks like it's 3, but you don't have to like have a 3-part Lego thing, like a Lego piece that has 3 parts, right? I can't do it with my hand, like a Lego piece that's like that to do it. You can just have the head, and then off the head, you can have these things that kind of extend out. But the rest of it is going to be, that's a dead one. But it's got these big paws, and it's got kind of a little tail. So it's pretty, but it's pretty massive. It's like probably as big as a bellowback. I don't think there's there's one in the background. She's riding a thing. But yeah, this thing is terrible because you first encounter it in a quarry, and it's going to be a boss fight. You're in a big open area. There's like some turrets. There's a bunch of supplies around the ring, and you're like, I wonder what's in here. Walk, walk, walk. Ground starts shaking. This thing comes out, and you're like, oh yeah, I could have figured. So, but those are the next ones to do. Oh, I found a neat trick. For you studio users. I haven't looked up Zoid. I haven't heard Zoids in a long time. Zoid seems to be like kind of a catch-all for all mechanical looking animals from like the 80s, right? I wonder if it'll do this here. All right. So, this is a group of, and now it won't do it. This is a group of pieces, right? So, and you see I've got them lined up a certain way, right? Have you ever done a group and then it changes? So you group all that together. It changes this bounding box to this awkward sort of angle. So that, and then that pushes the floor down a little bit. When you go to do instructions, it'll skew this really bad. So you won't have like the regular looking kind of perspective. Although right now it's an isometric view, and that really bothers me because I didn't think it was always isometric. I thought it was perspective, but it looks weird now. But I found out that you can change this to be not that. And I'm going to try it on this because this seems a little harder to figure out. So in here, if I ungroup this, so let's make this a different step just to make it easier. If I ungroup that, So if I release it, this should be the first piece. So if I put this higher up, it needs to go all the way up. So make it the first piece in the step and then group it again. Now it resets that bounding box. Now this is more useful. It doesn't push the floor down. It won't change the view in the instructions later. Whatever piece needs to be the base piece has to be the first one in that step. So if we kind of come over here and hit this unlock, Johnny, this is a thing. If you group something and you come over and select that group and you hit this little lock thing, it'll open up this whole submodel and you can do whatever you want in here. But the flattest piece, the one that aligns with the build plane, needs to be the first part listed. That's the one that it bases that bounding box off of. So that's a lot better. Okay. Just something I found out this weekend. But I don't need to do that with this because we're not doing that. And I found that out because I was doing instructions for the Mars base, and the top is like, it's a big square with a bunch of stuff on it. But every time I would group it, it was like the bounding box was like this. And then when I did the instructions, the first plate was really wonky. And so I posted on a Facebook group, and they're like, yeah, you have to, that big plate has to be the first piece in that group of stuff over in your steps. That's what it'll base everything off of. Because it was basing it off of like a hinged plate or a clipped plate that I had hinged or something. Yeah. So if you've got like two things and you group them together and you want it to be based off of like the flattest one lined up with the thing, that's why it'll do it. All right. So I've wasted 25 minutes talking about nonsense. So let's go back to here. Aloy is about as big as the leg from what I can tell. And I don't want to get too much bigger than that. But she also has to be able to sit. So I had an idea of, I'm going to use this piece at one point so she can kind of like sit in an angle so her body's like this and her legs are like that, and she can kind of slide in and her feet will rest in here. But this will also give the impression that there's something there and it's not just a big open socket for her to sit in. So at some point this will need to be up in this area on its back maybe. So that'll give us kind of a scale. Let's see. I might try to do these bananas again for those bags, but these are really hard to attach to things. They're great for that color and that piece, but they may be not big enough. So I'll keep that in mind because these, I don't know if that's if we've got a bigger thing where we can use something that looks like that. There may be a Bionicle elbow or something that looks good for that. So this is the turkey leg, right? In fact, let's not use this. Let's start fresh. So she's about up to here, right? Let's just say she's as big as this leg. That'll be good. Because there's I wonder if I can show an image of her riding it. Maybe a smaller image, but any size. Because there are ones where it shows her riding this one, and it'll give us kind of a good indication of how big it is. And these eyes too, like you can see there's like 6 the eyes are in clusters, or the optics are in clusters. There's one. Okay. So these blue tubes are also an indication that the machine has been overridden and it's friendly. Jason the Wheeled Warriors was weird. Oh my God, that was my favorite though. We actually had the toys for that one. Just messed up. Not as bad as the Inhumans though. That show was... They're like, look, we like He-Man and G.I. Joe, but what we need is something truly terrifying. Where none of this is for kids. It's all for adults. It's weird. It's gross. It's morbid. It's got like a bit of Elder God, you know, humanity's fighting on its last dime kind of thing. It's just crazy. All right. So let's start with the foot. Let's see if we can start with the foot. It's a cool piece. That's way too big. We got these new ones. That's too big, I think, too. Some of these claw pieces may be too big. I'm still going with Dino Riders. After Brick Eerie, I'm going to start working on those with all the Bionicle parts. We may have to do a co-build. You can do Dino Riders and I'll do Centurions if I can figure out how to do that. I think I might do... So we get a good shot of its feet. Yeah, those are raised up pretty good. So if I can do a clip... I might do a clip like on this brick. I think that's too big. But I need a sideways clip. So this is the problem with these is like, I don't know which one's the most current one. I'm guessing that's an O clip. I think they're doing O clips. Thick O clip is what we're doing. So it should be this one because it's got a later number in it, I think. So do that. That's as bad as the brick. Tooth. Maybe there's a tooth that's better. Maybe we could do this. That might be better. Yeah, I think that'll be better. Yep, 100%. Because I see it and think of Arc. So I've seen a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn picks and such, but how is the gameplay? Like, is your goal to collect every... Yeah, so it's it is an open world. First of all, it's PlayStation, so if you don't have a PlayStation, don't even bother. But you can get Zero Dawn on PC now. I could almost just make that its foot and put is an open world game, and you are you live in a world that's, I'm trying not to give too much away, but you live in a world that's kind of tribal, and probably gonna need that. Not savage, not barbaric. What's the word I'm looking for? Not technologically advanced. Capture, kill, tame, open world with some boss fights. So it's not like your job is to capture the animals. The animals are basically part of the weather, right? They're part of the environment. You just kind of run into them. There's a larger story and you're trying to solve a larger story. So you start off in your little enclave called the, it's not the Reach. It's called the Embrace, which is basically like Colorado Springs. Like this exists in our world. It's not a different planet. It's Earth. Primitive. Thank you. I don't know why that was so hard. And you start off as a young person who has to navigate their way through this world. And you basically start out as a child for like 5 seconds with your dad. And he's an outcast, you're an outcast, and you have to kind of figure out your history and why you're here. And, yeah, kind of, post-apocalyptic, rebuilding a civilization. But it's like the reason I liked it so much is you basically are walking around with a bow and arrow and a spear, and there's these giant robot machines around you, and it's like, well, what, you know? Um, well, you find out why the outcast thing happens, and that's part of the story I don't want to ruin too much, but very early on, like the first 2 minutes of the game, this isn't spoiling anything. You find something called a focus. It's this little triangular piece of technology. She puts it up to her head and it kind of snaps against her temple. And she's now able to see the world differently. And it brings up like an augmented reality, holographic imagery of like stuff around her. And it allows her to see like weaknesses in machines, parts of ruins that have like writing on them, like holographic writing. So she's able to detect where to go inside ruins and stuff. And so that helps her kind of become a good hunter and a good warrior and stuff like that. So during her trying to figure out her life, she has to leave. It's called the Embrace, and it's like mother's heart, mother's head, or mother's crown, something like that. Different parts of your little area, and then you kind of have to explore out of that to find the truth of what's behind all this stuff, because the story starts unfolding and unfolding. And there aren't really bosses, but there are places called. No, I'm not even going to get into it. There are places that are kind of boss-like, and they help you figure out how to override the machines so they can be helpful. But you can collect them in terms of, you can collect the knowledge about them, but you don't it's not like Pokemon where you capture one and store it or something like that. You just like, oh, now I understand that. And you have like a data bank. Your codex fills up. It's open. The story's pretty linear, but it's a basic open world where you start at a certain point and you have a story to follow, and there's all these side quests that you can do along the way. Some of them help with the greater story. Some of them are just so you can kind of get XP or stuff. Some of them are so you can get your gear upgraded. But it is, if you wanted to start from where you were and just go to the end of the map, you could. And my son tried that with the sequel, Forbidden West. He just started at one end and just ran as best he could to the other. Some parts of the story will interrupt you. Like you can't go past a certain point unless you finish a certain part of the story, but you can explore anywhere you want, and you can pick whatever side quest you want to do, or don't do any side quests at all. And it's a lot like Witcher, I guess. I haven't played Witcher, but I get the same sense of like kind of open worldy, but there's a story to it. Or God of War. I think God of War is actually a lot more linear and not as open world. Now, I will say that a lot of people feel like this is too open world. Like it gets a little hard to remember what you're supposed to be doing at times. So that may be an issue. But that's kind of what you get with open world anyway. I don't know if that's going to be I think that's going to be high enough. Well, the first 5 minutes, yeah, there's still the first little bit of the first one. There's a lot of story that needs to happen when you're a little girl. You can't really go any farther than that. Like it cutscenes you into like a ruin, and you have to kind of explore that ruin. But then when you get out, it turns into another cutscene and a lot more story. It's not until you become a teenager and you kind of get past the setup of the story where you can now leave the Embrace that it becomes more open world. There's a lot of early setup for that. The same with the second game. You're recapping a lot of the first game, and you're talking to all the old people that you ran into in the first game. And then there's like this beautiful opening credit scene with like a wonderful song and a really great kind of her transferring from the old game to the new game. And then from that point, you can kind of, you ride this lift down to the bottom of this canyon, And from that point, you can kind of go anywhere you want, but it still has to kind of set up the story a little bit. So it's not like, what is that one game, Shadow of the Colossus, where it's like you can just go anywhere. There's nothing to do, but you can kind of really go anywhere. So it's not 100% perfectly open world, but it's pretty open world. I think this needs to be taller, but and I just can't get enough of the game. I'm so enamored with it. It like anybody can't tell from watching all this. All right, and that needs to be a. This is going to get squirrely because this needs to be a. Well, I can do that way. Yeah, Shadow was great. I agree. Like, I was really excited. I played this, and then I like went through a thing where I played Horizon, and then I went back and played like all 4 Uncharted's, and then I went and played. There's a great game called Journey, which is also kind of open worldy, but there's no real story. You're just kind of walking forward, and you run into other. You can kind of run into other people who are playing at the same time, but you can't really tell that they're there, but you're just like, it's beautiful, but it's like a weekend game. Like, it doesn't take you long to get to the end of it. And then did Death Stranding, which is very open world too, but it also has a kind of a story. And then I tried Shadow of Colossus. Yeah, it's very much like that. Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, where it gives you sort of the story chunk, and then you're able to kind of go do whatever you want. Now there are things you need to kind of unlock to be able to do the story better, but I think at some point in both games, if you just ran through the map, there's really nothing stopping you. I'm trying to think of like, okay, in the second game, there is a town where a story portion will kick off, and it won't let you go past that unless it has and tells that story. And then after that, you can go farther. But there, like you start here, and then you kind of go along the map, and there's a big city, and you run into this gate, and when you get to this gate, you run into like the rest of the tribes of the map, and they won't let you go until this thing happens, right? Shadow of the Colossus would be great if there was like more of a story versus like you're just taking the souls of the Colossus back to, I don't even remember what it was. You're just taking the pieces back and dumping them in a place, or you get transported back to the place that you started. I forget. All right, let's see. This is a pretty good size, I think. I think. Pretty good size. Save that for later. Yeah, I don't want to get too big because it's still going to be towering over everything else. So I think it's probably good. Yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah. And I never even really finished the game. Like, I think I got it and I was like really bored after a while. I was like, is this all I'm doing? All right. So that's dark gray. What colors do this have? Dark bluish gray. Perfect. And then let's do, these are all, no, let's do that in black. And then let's see, these are funky. So we only have a couple there. And then we can do black and then white. So these machines, these are all like tan in the game, but I think for the most part, Lego did them as white. All the metal, all the casing stuff is like a white. So we're going to keep that kind of going. Now this bigger leg top needs some fleshing out, so to speak. So let's move you over here. Probably the best way is going to be with the brackets. I don't think I want that. Maybe I would have preferred tan. Well, here. Let's see what it looks like. So it has some tan. What if we turned it all tan? And we turned it all tan. Like that? Is that good? It's not bad. What if we turned it all teal? Oh, and you know what was great? I think we could turn it all tan and it would actually have worked. I don't think there's a lot of those pieces that couldn't be found in tan. I said off. And let's find teal. Sky blue. Sky blue and tan is rad. I love that color combination. This is the fun you can do in studio, and I think this is like the easiest way I get people to be excited about the software is once you get a digital copy of a model in there, the easiest thing to do is change the colors and to just order the parts for it. And then now you have, or I mean, do that with your own models. Just take a thing and just replace all the colors with other colors. And technically you've made something, you know, it's not really a mock. It's just kind of like a funky, you know, adaptation, but it's still something you worked on. So, let's not save that. Sky blue does look cool. Okay, sorry. There's this little icon thing in the way that I can't read some of the words. Don't save. Okay, so this section of the leg needs to be bigger. So let's do, maybe this guy. No, that's way too big. This guy. So we can have a portion of this attach to bracket, plate modified, bracket. So I'm looking for another game to play because I haven't been playing a lot of games. I've just been replaying Battlefront 2 because I really am sad that with everything that's come out, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, all the newish Disney shows, that there hasn't been a better Bad Batch. There hasn't been a better video game yet. So that's kind of disappointing. And I know they keep threatening these like weird open world games, and it's like they're just not great. They don't look good. I think everybody just wanted Battlefront 3 and just add all the new stuff that's been introduced to the continuity lately. I don't understand why that's so hard. Oh, you know what? Does this pill piece come in tan? Uh-oh. That doesn't come in gray? Oh, I've turned my filter off. Okay. Panel. That's fine. I really thought these panels came in light gray, or these brackets. Dark bluish gray. And that doesn't come in. Oh, light gray versus, okay, light blue gray. There we go. Am I? Light bluish gray. There we go. Star Wars Visions is really great. Somebody suggested doing a ship, doing the ship. There's one of the first season 2 stories with the lady who paints stuff. She's got like a great sort of spinning wheel bike thing that would be a really great Lego set, I think. So I'm going to look into trying to get a design for that. That looks fun. Does this come in tan? It does. Cool. All right. Oh, wait, no, these are going to be white. That's right. I don't know why I was doing tan. They both come in white? No, the oval does not. Okay. So let's just do 2 things. Nah, I don't like the way that looks. Slope. Yay, Arachnid wins. I like it. Let's do, haven't done this piece in a while. That's a good piece right there. In white. Great. Can I do that piece in orange? Yes. Great. Now, still want it in dark gray. Okay. Now, to attach this to a hip. So the next part of the body, I think, is like, it's like the tail is this like solid, almost solid thing. So that's, oh, okay. That's a really good shot of the tail. So it's a, kind of have an idea for that, but it's a big, long, cylindrical thing that kind of hits the body. I don't really have a good body shot of the middle of the body. You guys voted, not me. Is this a good view? Not really. Is that a good view? Kind of is from the back. That thing's going crazy. That's very dark. That's an artist rendering. Did I already have this as her writing it? Oh, that's a better one of her writing it. For sure. Image. Yeah, that's a good one, her writing it. Well, let's make some assumptions because it's got to be slightly angled. So let's do slightly angled so she can sit in it. Which way do we want to slightly angle it? If we do this, nope. Nope. It's not that. It's 315. Okay. All right. So like that. So then we'll have to build off of that. So it'll be kind of let's just start with a plate and see where we go. And Oh, you know, it'd be better. 2x2 plate modified. Where are ya? This one. That's good, because she can sit in that, and then I can have stuff going off the back of that if I need to. Whew. All right, so... what is going to be the best way to connect that? That's about as wide as I want. And then the wings are going to have to... so she's going to have to... I'm going to put her in here, but I'm going to get rid of all her weapons so she can fit. Um, 45 degrees. This is the first time I've actually built the model to accommodate the figure. This should work. But the butt cheek holes aren't like the best. Oh, maybe it doesn't work. I thought it did. All right, well, she's not going to be fastened there then. So this won't work. So this will have to be a plate. Yeah, and that's fine because I don't really need her to be in there anyway, but it'll just be nice to show off. So plate, tile, tile modified. There we go. And then she will sit in here like so. Group her so I don't have to worry about moving her around. Okay, good. Okay. That's pretty good. And then we'll just move this up here to find out where it's going to attach. It'll probably attach, looks like slightly higher up, but I think this is a good spot. Maybe right there. So then we've got to attach our thing right here. Cool. Can something flip down to hold her in place like a roller coaster ride or Lego Overwatch? So even on, well, this actually has studs. So even on my Strider, it's got studs. She just kind of stands in there and kind of leans over. Maybe I could also, this is a great piece and all, whoops, flipping around, but it could also be so her feet actually attach right here instead, which actually is not a bad idea either. So I'm trying to think of a piece that would do that. I mean, the easiest thing to do would be, well, let's keep her there. Let's move this, move this, move this, and do plate. Let's just do this. And then brick. Like this. And then she can sit in there. It'll attach her, so that's fine. And I can make this longer to be a more bulk, like do the 3. And then we can start attaching. The only problem I'm going to have now, I think, is attaching the neck and stuff to this, but I think That'll be fine. As long as it looks like the thing I'm trying to create, it'll be fine. I generally don't build, it's hard to build at angles like this, but I'm up to the challenge. So, yeah, that doesn't need to be too much lower, but I think I could get away with doing a 3 here. And then we can kind of double up on that up here. And then start in with the neck, which is gonna be, it's weird, it's gonna be slightly thicker than the, oh, we can do that. Slightly thicker than this guy's neck. I think that'll still work, those pieces. So a neck like that. So who has, has anybody got the Tranquil Gardens yet? Is that out? I think I'm only going to do the head. It's out. We don't have it. Okay. That may be one I'm going to get. There's, like, I realized I haven't been buying stuff lately. The last thing I got was like the small Star Wars set. And the Dream set, the bunny. Which, by the way, these pieces don't exist in studio yet. So I'm hoping they get added soon. Because they're pretty cool. But I want to get the Tranquil Garden. I think that's a cool looking set. And I can put that on my desk next to my bonsai. I just feel like this would be better if it were a little thicker. But I think like these pieces aren't thick enough. I wish there was something in between. That thickness. Before we get too far, I have to attach these legs somehow. So let's not get carried away. So let's do the go-to is a 4L bar. And trying to think of something that would hold that upside down. Actually, the reason I use bar instead of like Technic pins, Technic pins are great, but they tend to get loose. Even the friction pins. And there's not a 1x plate with a Technic pin on it. But ball. There are these two plates. This could be cool. It'll make the legs a little farther away, but oops. Might work to our benefit. And it may not. So let's mirror this. And then we'll put, I think this may be a little much, but we'll see. But it'll also give us the opportunity to have this like that and this like that. So let's move this over here so I can attach this. So I can put that like that. I think that may be a little wide. So let's delete. Copy mirror. I think that may be a little wide of a stance. That's too wide. Doesn't look right. Yeah, okay. Good idea, not this show. As my theater director once said. So let's see what else. So yeah, Tranquil Gardens is coming out. The Ahsoka Star Wars sets are coming out, or have already come out. I think the Ghost may be already out. I've pre-ordered the E-Wing, and so I know the E-Wing is going to come into play more later in the show, because I think there's another ship that attacks somebody, because it's in this set that's coming out. I still have to get that spider set from The Mandalorian, because I think that looked really cool. It'll be fun to put together, and I think has some interesting pieces. Let's look real quick. Take a break. Top of the hour, taking a break to look at Lego stuff. Hence the type of stream. Oh, how are y'all doing with your scanning of instructions? I think I've got about halfway through the ones that have QR codes on them, and it wasn't as many as I thought. I do have a lot of sets that don't have that. I also have a lot of sets in boxes that I don't want to open the boxes just to get the instructions out. So I don't know how to do that. Like I want it like this. I'm sure would have, this is recent enough to where it would have the instructions or the QR codes, but I don't want to open that just yet. I've got a bunch of other ones that I bought extra. Like I got a bunch of extra. I got a bunch. I got 3 extra of these space bases for parts. And I suppose I could open those up but in case one of our lug members might want one, I want to keep those together. I got this. This was our gift last year. Our lug gift. It was a friend's hearth thing. This was the ambassador gift last year. And I haven't sold it / opened it / built it. So I don't know what to do with it yet, but it'd be neat to be able to scan this one, because I'm pretty sure this would have it. So that's the kind of things it's like, they're really encouraging you to open these things. But I also have some like other gift with purchase ones that I don't want to open. So I guess we're kind of effed. Your phone camera has a crack. Oh man, can you webcam it? I'm sure there's workaround, but then you're putting in a lot of work and whatever. Yeah, I mean, you should be able to have like a QR app on a laptop and use that webcam or something, and just hold it up to the webcam and be like, scan that QR code. So let's see real quick. I don't want Lego for adults. Yeah, so Lego for adults turned into the Insiders. Well, partially. I think it's supposed to link to it, but that's not what I was here for. I don't think I have that bookmarked. I think I always just type it in because it's 4 letters. Um, the other thing is, I wish it would show what you've already scanned, right? Um, I haven't retried to scan something. I don't know if it'll throw an error or not, but there's a new parrot coming out. I'll probably get that because I have the other one. I'm not going to get the Himeji Castle. The house in the Hocus Pocus set looks great, but I don't want the rest of the set. Dream sets. I'm going to get more dream sets. Excuse me. Yeah. Tranquil Garden, that looks fun. Not going to get that for a movie I haven't seen yet. Probably not going to get the car. I think I'm done with cars. I may be like bagging them up and selling them. So if anybody wants shelf-worn creator expert cars with no boxes or instructions, I really wish. I'm hoping like later they'll be able to sell like here's all 4 of the houses in one set for $200. $100 maybe. It's a lot. $200 is a lot. This is the one I've got on pre-sale. I should probably pick up a calendar. They come out September, right? So I think all the advent calendars. Not interested in any of these mechs. It's the Friends calendar. Not interested in that. Definitely going to be getting the Concorde at some point. That looks really cool. Like I'm not a Technic fan, but I'm kind of glad like there's farming equipment for some reason. Like I'm really, really glad to see the farming equipment in a lot of stuff. Some of that real world stuff makes me happy to see. Arctic Explorer set looks pretty cool. I like the oranges. I'd be very interested that I don't think it's going to be. I'm not getting Sonic stuff. Never. I mean, it's there, great. It probably has some great pieces, and the figs are cool. But I'm not. I didn't get any of the Mario stuff. I didn't get any of the other play heavy video game stuff. I got the display video game stuff, but like I probably wouldn't get this. Got some great figures in it. A lot of that looks like nougat, medium nougat or light nougat. Be good to get some. That'd be a good draft set if it came down in price. Yeah, agreed. Monkey sets, Monkey Kid sets, or Ninjago. There's that new parrot. There's the castle, the El Dorado Fortress, which I think is super cool. This I might get. Space Roller Coaster, that looks like a lot of fun. Giant castles. The art. There's one of your... Yeah, so the Ghost isn't out yet. That's another cool... The Submarine Explorer sets. Great $15 set, I think. These 2 motorcycles. That's kind of cool. 2 figures, 2 playable vehicles. Not too bad. No, none of that. Main Street looks pretty cool. If you're into modulars or half modulars, whatever those are. Like all these great new modular kind of things are really cool looking. Did you get it from Mac Build? Cool. I'm gonna have to check that out and see what I'm gonna have to check that out almost weekly just to see if anything I like pops up, and then I have to message you and be like, hey. So the problem is, yeah, we're not gonna talk about Chewbacca. Boo. I don't know if I'm gonna get this. Getting Hu Yang would be great. New figure would be great. Another Ahsoka. I don't know. Definitely getting the insects. None of this. Bowser, Sonic, kind of stuff. Waiting till not getting the gunship. The ship itself, the T6, as opposed to the old T6, like you don't like the ship design or like the Lego version of the ship? Let's look at Lego T6 because there's an old one that I've got. I think it's bigger. So there's an old one. Let's compare, maybe. Well, for one thing, I like this cockpit better. It's a bigger cockpit. I think the ship is bigger overall. I do like the design of the ship, honestly. This feels very Star Wars to me, but it also feels very. Here's the thing. It is forced because it's a ship designed for Jedi, right? So it has to feel a little pompous because when it was made, the Jedi were kind of all over the place and they were like these, highfalutin group of people, knights, so to speak. So their ship kind of had to reflect that a little bit, I feel. So I feel like that's why it's like overly complicated and a little pompous. And when it's flying, though, I love that scene where it's flying in both Rebels and Ahsoka, where it's like flanked by X-Wings and it's flying. Oh, that's so good. I like vertically flying ships too. Ever since I think my first love of that was in Homeworld. Almost said Homelander. Homeworld, where their home ship was that giant, like blade of a ship. It was really great. Forced. Get it? Yeah, this has been one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. I really like it. And I also like the B-Wing, but both of those are just super complicated. There's no reason for a lot of it. When you've got ships like the Z-95 Headhunter, which is like cockpit, engines, wings, that's it. A lot of this is so let's look at I didn't look at piece count. So let's look at piece count. T6 shuttle. So we've got 372 parts versus 600 parts. This retailed for does it have its original retail price on here? Brick set would. Let's look it up there. T6. Yeah. And it was a workhorse, man. That original Z95 was like there's a reason it hung on so long and people used it for so long. So originally, I thought this had an original MSRP in it. There it is. Oh, current value. I thought it did. Okay, so here it is. RRP. There we go. $60 for how many pieces? $60 for where's the pieces? For 300, almost 400 pieces. That's kind of expensive. And this is going to be $80 for. So the Star Wars tax is still in play. So this one's more, but it looks smaller. It may not actually be smaller. You still only fit one character in the cockpit. It's still using this giant gear. It's not the same gear, is it? I feel like it's the same one. The teeth look different. The plate design is roughly similar. It's a middle plate with like 2 layers on top. Same here, middle plate, 2 layers on top. The old one I didn't like because the underside of it had none of these stripes. So you had to kind of go back and build them in. Also, I think these were stickers. Because my set doesn't have these, and I wouldn't have put them on. So I'm wondering if they were stickers. That's a printed tile. Oh, Brickset's got a review. I mean, I can just tell from this that it's smaller. This whole engine block is so much bigger than this engine block. This cockpit piece is, I mean, this is a 4 wide. This cockpit piece is a 6 wide. Maybe still a 4 wide, but it's bigger. I think the wingspan. So this is going to be slightly smaller, more compact, I think, because it's going to be using smaller pieces. There's a lot of smaller pieces in here. If there's, oh, it's got a nice little turret in the back. I don't think this one has the turret back here. If this has Technic functionality, you can see some Technic functionality there. You see the Technic in here, especially. That's landing gear, actually. It hides it pretty well, except for that giant. There you go. Yeah. Like, I like the wings here. The wings here aren't bad. I don't know, man. I like the wings here as well. I also like that the wings come closer to the front of the cockpit, right? Versus this, the cockpit sticks out a little bit. I don't like that as much. So I still like this original design more. And again, I probably won't get this. You know, I don't have enough of a desire to get Hu Yang to get, what a weird name for a robot, Hu Yang, to get this one. So we'll see. Maybe if it goes on sale or something, I'll pick it up. But yeah, so that's something. And yeah, I guess the brick set, let's see if we can do a search for T6. And they'll have an article about it. Minifigs, parts, news, members, news, review. So here's the review of the set. That's pretty good figures. I mean, the Sabine figure is pretty nice. Not gonna lie, that's pretty good. And I would get that. Oh, there you go. So markedly smaller, more pieces, more expensive. But again, this is back in a day when the pieces, when they've got, you know, they didn't have a lot of these 2x3 tiles, probably. Some curved slopes weren't available. I would have hidden a lot of this Technic more. But yeah, this also seems to rely on a lot of stickers. Like here, that's probably a sticker. That's probably a sticker. So you get a nice cockpit piece. So yeah, I wish there was a way to combine them. But honestly, I like this one more. I still like this one more. So there you go. I also like, I'll tell you which one I like the most. See if I can find it. I like that one the best. That's my favorite. Which is weird because this one's kind of built with the gray instead of the white. But it's because there's a piece under here that's that's an inverted wedge piece that only comes in light gray. So the rest of the ship kind of had to be gray with it. But I mean, in Star Wars, their ship plating is always somewhere between white and light gray, right? It's always this kind of weird color. So it's hard to pick. So I think that's why sometimes they pick white, sometimes they pick gray, but there you go. So, well, that was a fun break. I'm going to go back to doing this now. Thanks for walking through that with me. So inverted wedge. This is the piece that's in there now. One of these two pieces, I forget. And I don't think either of them can be... Oh, look at that. I can trade it up. It's got to be a reason for that. I'm going on a tangent. Lego. Microfibers. There we go. Studio files. T-6. Oh, I have new. Why do I have new? Oh, maybe just because I didn't have it. I think I just built this based off the pieces I had and I didn't order anything. Well, what happens if I just turn all these white? That's a release. Some of these I don't want to be white. Some of these I want to be gray. So we'll just do that. And then all of these can still be gray. That's fine. Let's see what happens. Oh, that needs to be. I'll throw some gray in there to be like accenty. I can have two of them now. I can put Shakti in one and Ahsoka in another. This is very, I don't know if you guys have seen this in real life, but it's supposed to be built so it'll spin. The wing will spin in independent. And it was really hard to figure that out. It'll spin independent of the two engines. So if you're holding the cockpit, the wing will spin and the engine in the back won't. Let's see if any of these can't be a white piece. It doesn't look like it. So I could do both. That's really weird. I think what it was is I didn't want to have to buy this piece initially, or maybe it just wasn't available or something. I don't know. But yeah, looks good. And I've already got this built. So I'll just maybe build another one that's white. I built 2 Cantwell class cruisers, so might as well build 2 T6 shuttles. And what I could do is try to do, so we've got this one, right? The old version. And then we could do, I'll break that up again. So I can select all the colors. That's one thing you got to remember about selecting these colors is that, oh yeah, some of these can't be. Let's see which ones can't be that. So the dark red, but which can't be dark red? Wedge plate. Oh, these plates in here, but I could turn those. No? Oh, these little ones. Huh. I really thought these could come in dark red. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's a spoiler. Because I think that's just it. I bet I could do... This is not what I wanted to be doing right now. My brain is just... Those will work. It's not bad. Yeah, all right. Well, I'll save that. What's this year? 2024. All right. So that's something to go back and work on. That's why I like going back and working on some of these older models. Cause I mean, I've been doing microfighters for 5 years. So we're going to get new parts. There's one that I really want to build. I'm going to show you this one. That I want it. It's just too big to be a microfighter, and I want to make it smaller. Oh, did I say 2023? Whoops. Yeah. I'll go back and fix that. Where is that? Design Studio T6. By the time I actually get around to working on it, it will be 2024. So, but this is another one I like. But again, I think it's just too big. This is like 116 parts, so not the biggest one I've done. But I think some of these choices could be redone. This is based off of the. Only have seen this in is one of my favorite ships, but you've only seen this. G1 Starwing in the X-Wing TIE Fighter video games, right? And these were the assault gunboats. One of my favorite ships. But I don't know where they went after that game. These are I think this is probably Fractal Sponge or something did these renders. I would love to be able to redo this to make it. The problem I run into with a lot of ships is like you can make it small and chibi like with the real microfighters, and it kind of gets the thing. You kind of understand what it looks like, but I also want it to have all the components of whatever the ship is. So like if there's a turret here, I want to have a turret. If there's like, this is like a 6-barrel missile cartridge holder, whatever. So 2 was the best I could do to get that shape. There's a lot of color in the wings, right? So I wanted to get all the color in the wings. That kind of stuff. So it's like, what choice do you make to make these look like the thing? So I may still just make it like this. It's not huge. It's not terribly small, but I don't know. But that's one that I could go back and use different pieces for. So, oh, anyway. I still kind of want to do. How would I do that? The ball joint without making it like super. I don't think I can. So let's not. Let's just do like this. This is fine. Bar. Let's just do bar and see what comes up. Maybe I'm missing something that'll be helpful. Is that plate? Orientation of that plate is not going to be. Okay. What I would love, and I know this probably stresses the brick too much, but a combination of these two parts to where it's just a plate and it has a bar sticking out of the middle here, like this, but it's just straight. It's not hooked. That would solve so many of my life's problems. Kind of like this, but with 2. Inverted slope. Sometimes I forget the pieces exist. All right, there's our big fat leg up top. So that's our big chunk of a leg right there. And then this can go into a Technic. I could type. All right, so we've got like 25 minutes left or so. What do you guys got going on the rest of your Sunday? Anything special? Anything fun? Got any upcoming vacation or anything planned? We just got last night we were at a friend's house and we just got we bought tickets to Book of Mormon, which is coming out in November. So we're gonna do that. So that's fun. Oh. And this is a Longleg. The rest of today, I'm not doing anything. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I need to do an inventory of our lugs sets. And this can then rotate. How can I do that? Down like that. A little. And then she can rotate up a little too. So this week and next week is prep for Brick Erie in 2 weekends. Lots to do. Finishing Hogwarts Tuesday. Next Tuesday, going to work on things that go boom. Cool. You're going to work on things that go boom, like real life explosives. All right, the next thing is like somewhere in here I need to attach big bags of stuff. And then off the back here, I need to do that tail. And then on top of here, we need to start attaching canisters. And which canisters are we going to do? See, I wish I could get them to be black and have the blue wiring around them at the same time, but... Oh, really? Oh, like Lego built explosions and laser shot and stuff going across. Okay. You're not actually like Lego built stuff, or are you gonna do like little squibs or something to blow them up? I'm curious. So let's do. There's a canister, and then what does the top look like? It's one of these things again. So that can be in that color, and that can be. Can we do dark blue? Ooh, cool. I like that. Let's do that. These are shock canisters. So if you there's parts, okay. So like the translucent pieces of like splats and flames and stuff. And you can, yeah, I was like, there's some great pieces that you can use for the dinosaur tails are great, especially if you can get them in white on Hoth because they have an arc. And then you can put stuff on the end of it, so it looks like debris kind of being flung in certain directions. You can use tubes for that, and that would be like longer arcs with stuff on the end of it. So you can have like your blast, transparent, orange, whatever colors, like at the center, and then you can have like chunks of stuff flying away from it. I've experimented with that a few times, and it's really fun. wands. If you get them in the right color, the wands have like a star on the end of it. You could put a couple in there and they look like sparks coming off, being shot away from an explosion. Those are pretty cool. So yeah, I'm jealous. That's going to be fun for you. I think I can do this again to attach them. Oh crap. Okay. These might not exist at all. I got to keep remembering to turn all that on. So this part is available in what? Dark bluish gray. Yeah. Yeah, those are cool, like half an egg kind of thing. So these will go up here later. Cool. It needs wings that aren't wings. So I'll need to attach like right here. So right about where she sits, I'm going to have wings coming out. So let's put a piece in there just to remember. This I may use ball joints for. So let's duplicate this. Nope, just these two pieces, dummy. The selection, that may give her more stability to sit in there too. The selection tool in Lego and Studio lately has been giving me fits. It's got this. If you have multiple pieces of something out here and you try to select them all and then try to move them, it won't grab all the pieces you select. So let's just do a bunch out here of different pieces. And if you try to select them all, right? So then you go control, 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 control. And then you try to move that last one, it won't do it. It then tries to draw a bounding box to select stuff. So you control, control click, control click, control click, control click. You hit control click, and then you let go of control and you use your left mouse to try to drag what you just selected, and it won't do it. If you select them all at once and do it, it works fine. But if you're like control, 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 and then you move away and go back to the first one, it works. It's really, because that's not how I work, is sometimes you can't, there's different parts selected all around. You can't draw a bounding box around it. So, and that's new to this kind of version. It's, something happened recently with an upgrade and I'm not a fan of whatever it was. I'm sure there was something that changed in order for it to like perform better, but so its wings actually do come up a little bit. So this may need to be a different socket. May need to be this one. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, cool. I love it when a plan comes together. Save. Everybody hydrate. James is going to maybe sort. Nothing big planned today. Cool, cool, cool. So I'm going to have, we have some drama with our lug, and I need to talk to our group a little bit about it next meeting, I think, and just kind of clear the air on some stuff. And I'm going to start off with, if you have a problem, like really lean into like the social worker aspect of it. But then I'm going to be like, um, if you have a problem, uh, and no one seems to be able to, and no one else can help. But there's another line in there. If you have a problem, something, 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 and then maybe you should hire. If you have a problem and no one else can help, but there's a third line in there. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, that's what it is. Maybe you can hire the A team, and then I'll have the sound effect on my phone. Ba-da-da-da. Try to make light of like a kind of what is a pretty uncomfortable situation. I haven't decided whether I need to tell the lug about it. There's drama, and I haven't decided whether to kind of bring it up. I feel like I need to, but I'm also not the lug nanny or babysitter. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it yet, but we'll see. All right. So this tail can be another hinge piece. Houston brought it up to me. Oh, really? Okay. Well, now you know. So I'll say this. We had somebody who was unhappy with being in our lug and they left. They also apparently, now this is a problem. Yeah, it was. The problem was somebody has been unhappy with being in the group for a long time. I think it was a problem like with one or two, maybe three people, but overall they felt like they were being treated, and I'm saying this as a disinterested third party, not totally disinterested, but somebody who's kind of unaware of what was happening. And they brought it up to me a long time ago, and I was like, well, if you have interpersonal issues with a certain person, make sure to talk to them about it. I can't do anything about it. I'm not the group therapist, right? We're all adults. If you've got a problem with a person, make sure to talk to that person. And I don't think anything happened from that. And they just kept being sort of like, when they were at the meetings, they were great, right? They were interested in what everybody else was doing. They were friendly. When they were at conventions, they were always very positive on being in a lug, and positive about like the work they were doing and their own models and things like that, and encouraging other people. But like offline, or not offline, but not in person, their communication was very passive aggressive and sort of, I wouldn't say delusional, but also like paranoid, and they never even talked to the person. And I know, and we both know that. I don't think they talked to two or three, or I think there was a few people involved, but I know at least two. And they never talked to this person. Even after I said, if you've got issues with them, make sure to talk to them. And they never did. And it was just constant. I know that they've had stuff in their past too, and they've told me this, that makes them feel like they, that needs to be dark gray. That may cause some trust issues and other issues where they don't feel like they can open up to people, and maybe there's some other chemical mental issues that are at play here. But again, I'm not a therapist, and I'm also not a babysitter. But anyway, and I've worked with them for years on stuff for the lug and stuff for the conventions, and it's never been a problem. Like, the only problems I've ever had with this person are the same problems I would have with anybody else. Logistics, things like that. Why weren't these things done in this place? Why wasn't blah, 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 blah. They were even instrumental in designing our first project support project, the big castle. And it was great, right? It was a good design. I think everybody had fun with it. Heaps of praise were given to this person for what they did. So the other day, I see a message on our Discord that says from this person, I've been accepted as a contestant on Lego Masters Season 5. James and I both responded, that's great. Congratulations. James says something to the effect of like, I hope it's everything you want it to be, right? I know a lot of us are kind of down on Lego Masters being sort of a grinder of souls, and not everybody would want to participate in that, but some people do, and that's great. Which one of these is going to be better or more available? Shortly after that, the message is deleted. Now, at first I thought it was because maybe they shouldn't have said anything, like they shouldn't have announced it. And that was part of an issue of, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said anything because the message got deleted. But then I go into the server log and it says message deleted. Oh, actually it said, James, you'll appreciate this. Users left server, users joined server, posted message, deleted message, user left server. So it's almost like they did it as a dig. And I'm like, really? So I was like, oh, what's going on? I also know that there is a response in the survey that I put out recently that the lug was a bad place and everybody in it was very mean. And I'm like, I know exactly who wrote this. And like, I had written up a whole huge email about it. And I was going to talk to them about it. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to deal with this. And then, so I went and checked our Google group and they're out of the Google group too. They don't exist in there. They left. I don't have an audit trail of them leaving, but I did a search for their email and they're not in it. And then I'm on Instagram and I go look up their account because I thought they were following me and I was following them. But when I like scrolled through, I didn't see anything. So I went and just typed in their username that I know it exists. And I see that they had posted something that said, I'm starting to put my old stuff back on Instagram. But I'm really, because I feel like I'm really out of the desire to build anything because I had such a bad experience with our lug. Lugs are horrible. Do not join them. And I was like, what the actual F, dude? So I was talking to James. I was talking to two other group members who are kind of ambassadors. It was Will and Justin, because Will's like our A&E ambassador, so for Brick Rodeo, and then Justin's a member of our group, but he's also an RFLM that does his own thing. And we were going back and forth with this, and it's just like flame out, man. Just flame out. I don't think nobody had any idea, but at the same time, I'm like, I really wish you would have talked to somebody about this. Because now, I'm worried that they're going to just badmouth our lug publicly. Like, I don't care if they left and had a problem with it, but hadn't talked to anybody about it. I'd be like, well, we can't help you if you're not going to open up about it. Just nothing you can do about it. But if they start being public about it, it's like, you can't do that, man. Yep, that's exactly it. And I don't have time for that. If they need help, they need to get help. I know that their family also has had some like medical issues, and I think that whole kind of microcosm that they're in is probably pretty stressful, like James said. I don't want to add fuel to the fire. This is just kind of like the facts as I have them. I personally never had a problem with this guy. The only problem I ever had with him is he would call me Brian for the past 10 years. There was a guy in our group named Brian, and the two of us would hang out together in the group, and we looked very similar. We both had like the chin beard. We were kind of round white guys, about the same height, same hair, glasses, always talking about video games and board games and stuff. So I get it. But that dude left like 5 or 6 years ago, right? And he still calls me Brian. And I corrected him a couple times, but it doesn't change. And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. So There's a great picture of the wings unfolding in here, and I wanted to use that. So if I could just go forward a little bit and then have... Yeah, and again, I don't want to add more to what is probably a bad situation, but I'm also... My concern is that they say something inappropriate while on Lego Masters. That's my only real concern. And I don't know if I need to, and I don't mean inappropriate to them or inappropriate to anybody else, but like, I don't want them to say on national television, oh, I wouldn't join lugs. Lugs are bad, especially this one in Texas or something like that. That's what I'm worried about. Right. They can edit. I'm sure it's not live, but it's still like, I don't know. That's my concern. I also feel like I'm worried that it'll come down from the show back down to like the LAN and them wanting to like look into us being bad to, oh, that would look really cool, but I don't think it's going to work. I think that's too big, but that's a great piece. It's just so frustrating because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I should have to do about it. It almost it's disillusion. In talking with Richard and Flynn originally at Brick Radio a couple of years ago in Austin, they were very much like, if I had to go through that again, I wouldn't. It was terrible. Knowing what I know now, and I think the show has changed a lot since then, and because of them being more are there like actual wings on the back of that? Okay. This may not need to be that, but they did say that it was not the greatest experience. And I have the same concern. I'm wondering if like they'll go through this and be like, that was bad and I don't want to do that again. And now I'm off kind of Lego for a while. So we'll see, this may be the season I actually watch, the show. 'Cause I haven't. Let's do, which plates? So anyway, that's the drama. I know there's always drama with Lego people. It seems like when there doesn't really need to be, because it's a kid's toy, right? It's just a kid's toy. This is one. Why is it suddenly 110? So 155. And then 3 circles. This is turning out to be pretty basic. I don't know why this is not going to work. This is going to be rad. And then those things hanging off. These wings might be a little chunkier than I wanted them to be, but can we do this at all? Will that run into anything? Not too bad. All right. I think, you know what? I think maybe today I'll craft an email that'll go out to the group and just say, we've had somebody leave our group. I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to be like, somebody's left our group and somebody was very unhappy. And I was going to bring this up at the next meeting, but you're probably right. I probably need to nip it in the bud. Somebody's left our group and they were very unhappy about how they were treated as part of the group. And then just remind people that if they know who the person is, to kind of leave them alone, not fan any fires, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be a good. But then also remind people that if they're having issues with somebody in the group, to make sure to reach out to discuss this with them before it becomes a problem. The last thing I want is like internal fighting in our very, very small group. We've got 25 active members. That's not a huge group. We do have several hundred Google group members or whatever it is, and several thousand on Facebook. But I mean, none of those people are very active. It's the ones that are in the meetings that I'm worried about. Chat GPT will help me craft that message. I have yet to use that for anything. But yeah, I think I should probably put something out and just be like, you know, if you're a good enough friend with this person, you probably already know what's going on. You know, I don't know. I think I might talk to my social worker wife and ask them what they would do or how they would craft a message to a group. That's cool. Yeah, we're thinking about using it at work to start doing some training things, because one of the members of our team uses it to, or spins up a lot of like daily tips and tricks, and so she was thinking of trying to use it to like craft those and stuff. So we're small enough to where we're only communicating with maybe 100 people, 150 people in our office, but we're also talking to thousands of doctors across the state, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of doctors. And I think the membership team probably will use that to craft messages or stuff like that. But they have to go through it and make sure legal's okay with it and that it's on brand and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I may work on that now just to see what happens. It is noon. I am done with this for the day. I think we got a real good start. I don't foresee this taking much longer. I think the head's probably going to be a problem, but I think I'm going to make this a little more rigid of a neck and then have it be able to like have the top turn. I think that'd be more on point for what the actual machine does. I don't think the tail is going to be a problem. I think bulking up the back to put these cans on is not going to be a problem. The sacks on the breast plates probably is going to be the biggest challenge. So I'll look at some interesting pieces and see if I can figure out what we're going to do, but I think it's a good size. And I appreciate y'all being on here and hanging out and chatting. Sorry to inject club drama onto it, but hopefully that's not something. I know Johnny and Vab have their own issues with their lugs sometimes too, and it's just kind of a pain to, have to go through it for everybody. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. We'll be back. I'll be back on Thursday. Whether we do a fun, collaborative thing again on Thursday, we'll see how that shapes out. But again, have a good rest of your weekend. Hope you have a good Sunday, and I'll take care.